Alright, I just realised that I blend into the background. Don't I? I really do. We've got the YouTube award up behind me. You may have seen that. It's something I'm very proud of. And you can actually see the ring light in the reflection. Let us move that. Ah, that's better. So, we're back with another marijuana in sports reaction video. So, we have heard the journalists. I've given my opinion in the previous video. Now we're going to hear from the athletes. I'm looking forward to it. I've got a wee smoke for myself. So any smokers out there, please indulge yourself and let's enjoy this video because I'm very interested to hear what they have to say. I'm interested to hear how they used it within the game. If they were playing high and for what reasons. Was it recreationally or was it, you know, so-called medicinally? We're about to find out.
We have shoot around. I go home, smoke a joint, take a nap, eat, and go to the game.
There you go. He slept it off. Interesting. Go shoot around before the game. Go smoke a joint. Go have a nap. Have a feed. And go play. So what?
I feel like this is the most dynamic plant on earth.
Don't be naive to the fact that it's helping people.
Interesting. I would have to once again be devil's advocate and say, don't be naive to the fact that it can hurt people too.
How beneficial would it be then to legalize it for the league?
Super beneficial.
Oh, why'd they put all those shots of them laughing? Is that because they think that, you know, marijuana makes people crack up laughing all the time? Look, it can, but that's just another stereotype, isn't it? You never know until you try it.
Basically, everyone here in this table has smoked before. I think everyone always remembers the first
Cheers,
time they
boys.
smoked. So I'll start with Catino. Do you remember your first time smoking? What was it about?
Yeah, I just told the guys right before this, the first time I smoked was with my business partner. It was May 7th. It was last year in Miami.
Remember the day.
What?
Like a child, like a
4:58 p.m.
Right.
Last year?
I sparked those.
It was actually Blue Dream.
My dad used to grow weed, so I used to steal it like fresh off the plant.
For real?
You know what I mean? Stems and sticks and seeds and all.
Smoking it wet.
For real. I was 14.
Yeah, for me, man, it was actually when I was playing in Golden State. We were
bad influences.
Which one you gonna play?
yeah, all of them. But, you know, we were in Phoenix, and we sitting in the room, and they went. So we sitting there and everybody pissed off, especially because, you know, we won more games than we won, you know, the We Believe year and all that. So they just start sparking up. And they just like, how you gonna hit this? And I'm like, man, I'll try it. And I've been smoking ever since.
I was a freshman in college. Tried it once and put me out. I didn't like the feeling. Sitting there, I got queasy. I was like, yo. So I know what that meant. Like, I know what it means now. Like, I was loaded. You know what I'm saying? like I know now, like I was like out of my mind. But I just tried it again, and I'm like, this ain't that bad. Yeah, this is probably gonna be my lane here.
Did y'all ever play high? I know y'all were talking about that earlier.
I never played after smoking, but we were playing in Indiana one day. Like I wasn't feeling well. I had a hamstring or hip or something, so I smoked, and I was like, well, I wasn't gonna play originally. So we got to the arena. I was like, feel better.
Feel good now?
I feel good. I went out there, had a great game. Yo,
what numbers you do?
I was like, nah, I like 24, you know what I'm saying? Like doubles. And I was like, yo, this is, like, I felt great.
Anybody else ever smoke and play?
This is the question I wanted to ask. This guy's asking it. Good shit.
You did?
My whole life, really.
For real?
From high school
Really?
to college to the pros.
What was your routine?
I just found a way. I'm telling on myself, but I don't give a fuck now. I mean, what I would do is you know what I mean? We have shooters.
This is extremely interesting. So this is a guy who couldn't stop, and he found a way. If you want to keep smoking, you know, you find a way.
Around, I go home, smoke a joint, take a nap. I mean, what I would do is you know what I mean? We have shoot around. I go home, smoke a joint, take a nap, wake up, take a shower. Shower was important. Shower would wake me back up, eat, and go to the game.
What was the best game you remember?
All my best games, I was medicated.
For real?
Yeah, that's, like I said, like he said, I mean, he felt like he couldn't play that night. You know what I mean? And he smoked and he went and had a great, like, so I just knew as much as I could, it wasn't every single game, but in 15 years, it was a lot.
You know a lot of people who smoke, but...
It was every single game.
Particularly in the NBA, how many closet smokers do you think there are?
Shit, I think 85% of the league. Well,
I think like our
old
like,
NBA,
since I left,
yes,
like early mid 2000s.
There's a lot. There's people who you wouldn't think. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, a lot of
who
people.
you never
But
hang
then
out
at the
with.
same
would
time,
never
the
think, you know what
GMs,
I'm saying?
coaches, presidents, like as far as when you want to say closet, I mean it goes deeper than what you think. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they
Some of
just-
these people that are cracking whips on us, are
Trainers
smoking weed.
and-
Yeah. Some of the people that
saying,
are
like,
cracking
it's-
whips and suspending us are smoking weed.
Mostly everybody's like,
Yeah, that's wrong.
All my billionaire mentors or whatever, they all consume. They smoke like crazy.
So how beneficial would it be then to legalize it for the league?
Very.
Don't be naive though, I don't know. A couple of these guys sound a little naive. This guy on the left has only just started smoking it.
Super beneficial.
That's so interesting, man. Actually, meeting someone of that age who's just started, you know, he might be 40 or something, I don't know. You know, and how it can only enhance someone's life at that age. It can only enhance their life. Even if you do get very, very addicted to it, that's going to take years. It's going to take years for any negative effects to come into play in it.
Nick Minute. If you have access to something, if you have information about something, you will become disciplined enough to understand when I should take it or when I shouldn't. But when you have someone telling you cannot do something, you're going to fight that system. I don't care who you are.
So when we first came to the NBA, we used to get that one preseason drug test and you could rock the whole year.
When did it start going random, bro?
Soon, so
To my 5th year.
Yeah.
I think it had to do with some baseball steroid stuff. So we started, and they knew that marijuana was the only problem. We didn't have no steroid problems. They had a perception that all these black athletes are out here smoking weed.
So how do you pass the test then?
No, like I didn't. I'd been in. Yeah.
I think, you know, but think about it. We rarely got in trouble, too. We didn't really truthfully get in trouble.
I got in trouble.
You know,
When all the propositions were coming up to legalize it, like people were just crazy trying to push this stuff, or did you think there was an actual change?
No, I believed in it because, like I said, I've been a long time smoker and just have known what it's capable of. And I think it was fear, or I mean, it's feared because of the stereotypes we have today. It's pictured as, you know, a gateway drug or you know a black thing, so to speak.
And at the end of the day, like with cannabis, like, you know, we can't go out and say that it heals anything right now because of the FDA and stuff like that. But we have all these stories where it does. Reading up on like how it help kids with epilepsy and different things like that, how it help people deal with so many different issues, you know what I'm saying? Even people like that are terminally ill with cancer and HIV, give them a better quality of life. You know,
At the very least, that is a legitimate use to give people nearing the end of their life a better quality of life. I mean, yeah, it just goes without saying. Honestly, it's you know, say no more in that respect.
I feel like this is the most dynamic plant, on Earth because it does so many things.
I played 15 years, man, like, and made it through like a lot of major injuries, and still was able to play at a high level. You know, and that's through most of my career. You know what I'm saying? Me self-medicate. You know, like, I'm the only athlete, basketball player, to come back from 2 microfracture surgeries on each knee and play basketball. Man, like that's medicine. I walk around to this day. Like I've had major reconstructive surgery on my left ankle. Had my patella repaired. Like I walk around, man, in no pain.
My life was on TV, man. I'm going through, my mom dies when I'm playing in Golden State and I play the next day. The day after my mom dies. I get divorced on that, you know what I mean? I have a reality TV lifestyle. My ex-wife was with my former teammate. Like, there's a lot of shit that would break normal people. You know what I mean? But I'm sitting back smoking a joint, able to laugh at my life because, like, this is going to be a crazy story when I get older, man. You know what I mean? Like, all the shit I done been through and
Bro, it's fucking awesome for him, but that is basically the drawback of smoking weed and being a daily smoker, is that, you know, you're a lot calmer, you're a lot more level. Your lows certainly aren't as low. That's exactly what he's talking about. He basically said that his mum dying and getting divorced, the low that someone would normally feel, because he's a daily smoker, you know, it allowed that low to not be so low. But what happens is that your highs are not as high, and that's the sacrifice you make. You sacrifice that upper level of I guess, natural dopamine, because you're constantly feeding yourself with dopamine through smoking marijuana. And of course, you can imagine any brain that is constantly being stimulated with marijuana, is constantly being stimulated with dopamine. Without that substance, emotionally, neurologically, your brain isn't going to be able to produce dopamine at the same level as it normally would. So what that means is that you're actually constantly craving it. Once you get into that pattern, there are people it doesn't do that to, but you know, that is one of the drawbacks, and that's a worry. But the good thing is that if you do decide to quit cold turkey, the withdrawal symptoms are nothing like that of nicotine or being an alcoholic. So that's a positive, but there's a lot of people out there that smoke weed on a daily basis that believe there's no reason why they would stop, and they smoke it to the day they die. And you know, then again, on the opposite end of the scale, there are some people that are completely against it until they're knocking on death's door, and then they do decide to dabble in it to improve their last years, to improve the quality of their last years, to improve the quality of those last periods of their life. And that seems backwards. So really, I mean, just there's so many angles you can come at it from, and I don't know where to start, honestly. I'm a daily smoker. I'm exactly like Matt Barnes. I really am. I'm not even gonna lie. Fuck, man. He just basically spelled out my life. Like my mum smoked it. My mum, grew it when I was a young boy, and I used to steal a bit off of her plants, and started early, and it's a daily thing. And if I was going to go and play a game of NBA, you would want to be free. You would want to make sure your mind is free of any outside negativity, any outside anxiety, any outside pain, physical pain as well, but mentally especially. I mean, you want to be in the moment, present, in that game, playing 100% in every single play, and not having, you know, flashes of worry about certain things in your life. I believe that, you know, if you were an anxious type of person, I believe that smoking before a game would allow you to zone in, as they say, and concentrate more on the game and enjoy it more, probably, because you're not worrying, you know, unnecessarily about shit, which is what happens when you have anxiety. So I can certainly, you know, that's another benefit. I mean, I could go on for fucking days, I really could, but I feel like I'm repeating myself now, so let's get back into it.
I didn't kill myself, or I'm not in prison.
Did you smoke when you was driving to the...
On the way to get Derek? Earlier that night I had, I was listening to Tupac on the way over there, so that boy didn't stand a chance, you feel me? Trust me.
Did we help you out mentally through that whole process?
Oh, that's what I'm saying, it kept me sane. I've been someone that just smoked because I know how it made me feel. Yeah, now, regardless if it was against the rules for the end.
Kept him sane throughout those tough times in his life. Helped him mentally. It's exactly what I just talked about.
Yay, I knew what it kept me from doing on a mental standpoint, and how it made me feel after we played a back-to-back, you know what I mean, heading into the playoffs, getting ready for the playoffs. Like, I just knew that, man, I'm going to hit that, my back's going to feel better, my toe is going to feel better, my fingers, I broke all my fingers are going to be all right. I just know, like, tomorrow's going to be good.
See, physically, I haven't actually used it to overcome physical pain, ever. So that's, you know, if I had genuine pain, if I had a knee reconstruction, or I needed one, or, you know, I had to play through pain, I haven't used it for that, and that's another side of it that I'm not familiar with. But I am familiar with it, with knowing how it makes me feel mentally, and having that comfort zone. Gives you a comfort zone. You know, whatever's going on in life, at the end of the day, you take a smoke, and it sort of brings you back down. It sort of brings you back to earth and back to reality, and allows you to sort of reset, and yeah.
Cool day.
Did you ever think that you'd be on bleach?
After we played a back-to-back, you know what I mean, heading into the playoffs, getting ready for the playoffs, like I just knew that, man, I'm gonna hit that, my back's gonna feel better, my toe is gonna feel better, my fingers, I broke all my fingers are gonna be all right, and I just know like tomorrow's gonna be, you know, a cool day.
Did you ever think that you'd be on Bleacher Report smoking? Or talking about weed?
I think Al for this, you know, I think Al really took a big step with really his movement as a whole, but you gotta think he sat down with David Stern, you know, the NBA commissioner, and now we're on Bleacher Report smoking a joint.
How far do you think we are from the NBA allowing players?
Don't glorify it. Use it for what you need it for.
I think they will allow CBD, cannabinoids. I think within the next 3 to 5 years. I think there's enough testing there. I think there's enough people telling, you know, the right stories. I think the World Anti-Doping Agency, they just allowed, you know, CBDs in the Olympics and different things like that. So I think some of those barriers are starting to, you know, be knocked down.
But you know what's crazy? It's not so much that, not to cut you off, Al, but it's not so much the NBA says you could smoke weed now. It's that they don't test for it. You know what I mean? We're the only major sport that gets 4 random tests for this.
Baseball
only
players.
Sports. Football gets 1 in the preseason and they're tested for steroids. Baseball, same thing. You
That's
know
what I'm
I mean?
going to get tested for.
Yeah.
No street drug.
Right. So it's just like, you know, like I say, it's a stereotype drug.
Yeah.
It's a black athlete stereotype drug. It's right.
Well, I don't know about black or white, but definitely it's cross-cultural in New Zealand, I'll tell you that much.
The only league that they test 4 times random for weed. Like, why? You're not testing for alcohol. You're not testing for these, you know, I mean, these pills that are destroying our insides that our trainers are giving us.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're testing for weed because you know we like to do it.
For us, this is our fraternity is our family. So this right here,
Coutinho Mobley. Wow. I remember playing with him on NBA like 2K3.
it does so many different things for us to calm us down.
Like you said too, and I mean, most guys that I could think of, all my teammates that smoked, they were always the ones that was always like in the house.
The chilling, right?
Chilling, always in the house. They weren't out like, you know what I'm saying? They were like, all right, y'all eat this dinner, I'll be right here.
I'm curious from your 2 perspectives though, because
He's like in the house. That I could think of, all my teammates that smoked, they were always the ones that was always like in the house.
The chilling, right?
Chilling, always in the house. They weren't out like, you know what I'm saying? They were like, all right, y'all eat this dinner, I'll be right here.
I'm curious from your 2 perspectives though, because obviously.
That's me to a certain extent, but it's definitely not. I love getting up and out and doing things, you know. I won't want to waste time on the couch fucking watching mindless TV. I'll at least want to watch something that I can learn something from, like a sports documentary or crime or nature, things like that. Yeah, everyone gets their munchies, I will say. Although, you know, I've sort of trained my I guess discipline level as far as that's concerned. So if I am wanting to stick to a diet, I can. But if I'm, you know, sort of letting go a bit, then smoking weed's probably not the best idea for me, because I can sort of go a bit far and sort of make myself a bit sick sometimes. But usually I keep it pretty clean.
So you guys have investments within the marijuana organizations and companies in terms of what you guys are building. Were you guys concerned about the label of like drug dealer, and how hard was that kind of like to box out as you guys understand this was a business?
Like I'm a serial, you know, entrepreneur, and like I just like to jump off the cliff as long as I understand what I'm doing, right? Like it's not like we used to, like drug dealers around the way. It's not like that. But you're building a foundation, right? For me, that made me feel better because now I found my niche. Not so much medical marijuana, but just being a businessman and learning a lot of things. I always believe it. When somebody tells you something, research it as much as you can. You never know that could be your, you know, light at the end of the tunnel. So that's the only.
Is he smoking or is he not? Because if he's not smoking, then I fully respect the hell out of what he's saying. You know, don't get high on your own supply. But if this is just like a novelty that he's thought, oh shit, like everyone else is smoking, I'm going to start smoking. Oh, I enjoy that. Now I'm going to make a business behind it. Kind of pisses me off after being a seasoned smoker. You know, I should be the one that's creating a fucking business out of this shit. I know enough. Like, I'm an expert. I really should be.
It's not. I went for it.
I don't know, for me, I've never been like shy about it. You know what I mean? Like if somebody asks me what I'm working on or what I got going on, I would always mention it. So for me, I haven't met much resistance. How I got in, you know, I was in Denver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
My grandmother had come to see me. She's 81 years old at the time, and she had like set up all her medications like in the kitchen. And it was like 30 different pills or whatever. So I'm like, damn, grandma, you take all that every day? And she's like, yeah, I take it for this, that, glaucoma, blah, 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 blah. She said glaucoma. I was like, damn, I just read something about glaucoma the other day. So I'm telling her, I'm like, well, grandma, you know, you should actually try it and just see what happens. So like I said, I'm from Jersey where like, you know, growing up, anybody that smoked weed had no future. Like nobody. You had like, you had no chance of making it in life. You know, people just viewed you as like, he's done. This right him off. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so I'm sitting here like, grandma, you should try it. She's like, boy, so first I told her you should try, I called it cannabis. And she's like, what's that? And I was like, weed. She's like, reefer? Get out of my face, I ain't smoking no reefer.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear how he actually convinces his grandmother to finally use a bit of the old reefer.
She's like, reefer messed up your uncle's life, but your grandfather's life. All these niggas want nothing because it's reefer, right? So reefer. So
Right, so they're completely addicted, which is the negative side of it. It does cause people to have lower lows, but not as higher highs. And what that does to someone is it kills your drive to strive for more. It makes you content with what you have. And for some people, if they don't have anything when they do begin to be a daily smoker, they never progress past anything. So yes, it can fuck people up. It can. But it depends, man. It depends on your environment. It totally depends. There's so many factors.
I'm like, grandma, look, why don't you just
Grandma.
try the weed? You know what I'm saying? I was like, because they said it'll help, and I was like, the medicine you taking is not working. You may as well give it a shot. And after a while, she was just like, my eyes hurt so bad today, I'll try anything. So I called my boy. He went and got her some Vietnam Kush. Came back.
Vietnam Kush. I have never ever in my life, after smoking for years and years, ever like actually ordered a certain strain because it's gonna affect me in a certain way. I would love to do that, and that's something I'm going to be able to do as soon as I land in Canada or California.
Had it whenever I was with the homie. So he came, he bought his volcano. He vaporized it. We took it in the garage. She started hitting it, right? So what's funny about that? She's smoking it. And she's like, I'm looking like, damn, grandma, you sure you don't smoke? She
know what's going on here.
She's like, bro, no, I ain't smoked. Blah blah blah. She's like, I smoked cigarettes one time when I was 16. Yeah. So whatever. So I take it downstairs. I take my nap. So when I wake up from my nap, I was ready to jump in the shower. And I said, let me just go check on her real quick. You know what I mean? Make sure she ain't down there bugging out or nothing. So I go downstairs and I knock on the door. And her back is to the door and she's looking down. So I stick my head in and I'm like, grandma, you all right? And she turned around and she started crying. She's crying tears. And she's like, I'm healed. She's like, you know, I haven't been able to read the words of my Bible in over 3 years. And like, she crying, she made me start crying. And like, after that, it just completely changed, you know, my perception. Really, like at this point, it went from just being a social thing that just made me feel good to where I seen like, wow, all that shit I've been reading in the paper is actually true.
What is the perception you want, like, our BR audience?
I don't know how that's fixed her eyesight like that. To be honest, maybe it is a miracle worker. I have no idea how that works, but I mean, there you go.
And from this conversation,
or maybe that's his story. You know, that's his story that he's going to tell behind his THC or CBD brand. I don't know. Oh, the jury's out on that one. I'm not sure.
Athletes, and particularly in the NBA and marijuana.
I mean, you can still be a successful person, successful athlete. Like, it doesn't make you a bad person if you consume cannabis. It doesn't make you a bad person if you...
That's really powerful, you know. I wish I had been told that like 10 years ago, because I went through years and years of beating myself up big time for being a, you know, regular smoker. And that's all you need to say, man. Smoking weed doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make you a bad person. It might be illegal, but it doesn't make you a bad person.
Still functioning and taking care of responsibilities and doing all that. I mean, you can still be successful at what you're doing. You know, so you can't fight the science of it. You know, so do your homework and don't be naive to the fact that it's helping people.
We're actually trying to help. You know what I'm saying? And we're trying to heal the world, essentially. It's not about just the monetary gains that we can get from this. You know what I'm saying? I really want to be able to change people's lives. We're thinking legacy now. You know what I'm saying? I met with some of the people from the NBPA.
Oh fuck! It is sponsored by this Viola extracts.
February. And you know, I was telling all of them, I said, that first chapter I wrote is nothing compared to this second one I'm about to do.
That's insane, eh? Like, massive NBA career, and he's saying that about the weed industry. Like, why aren't I getting into the weed industry in some way, shape, or form? Why not? That is the question I will answer myself. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed that one. It's probably gone for like half an hour, even though the video was 13 minutes, but that's my style. So if you do want to stick around, please do. In the next video, we're going to finish it off with some snowboarding, believe it or not. It's called Carving on Cannabis with a Snowboard Gold Medalist. It was brought out in 2015, and I'm assuming it's going to follow, you know, a top athlete once again, who's a regular smoker of cannabis, and carves out, you know, his snowboard runs high. And we're going to hear how it helps him, how it affects him, how long he's used it, when he uses it, if he uses it before competition, if it helps with his sleep, and much, much more in the next episode of Rugby Player Reacts. Now, I'm not sure why I'm calling these Rugby Player Reacts to like weed-related videos, but we are going to roll with it. It's not over yet. The journey's not done. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Yeah. Gon' play that. Take you down, I'ma say that. Mine need me a couple dollars. Telling you now this payback. So I take that. Ask them now what say that. I've been going to the top and I got what they not, so I know that they hate that. But I'm on now.